today we're going to discuss section 11.4, and basically this is areas of irregular figures. It's like we put everything that we've learned together, like a puzzle that you would break up into its individual parts. So let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, there's a shape. We obviously don't have a formula for finding the area of this shape. So what we have to do is we have to break it into its individual parts and come up with a plan. So I can look at this as a half a circle. I know that this is 19 from here to here. I know that this is 6, 6, and 6. And I know that this is 22 from the very end to the very end. And I want to know the area of this shape. Well, here's my plan. I would take my area of my rectangle. I would subtract the area of the triangle. And then I would add the half circle. So as long as I can find the area of all three of those shapes, then when I put them together, I can figure out the area of this whole thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is the large rectangle. So on that one, I've got 6 by 19, okay? And that's going to give me, let's see, the area of the rectangle, when I multiply 19 times 6, should give me 19 times 6, let's see, should give me 114. Okay, didn't give me units here, so I know it's units squared. Obviously, if it was centimeters, it would be centimeters squared and so forth. Okay, so then I'm going to find the area of my triangle. So it is an equilateral triangle. I don't know what the height is, but obviously I know what the base is, so it's 1/2 6 times whatever the height is. Well, this is going to be 3 and this is going to be 3. To find the height, I can use Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus the height squared equals 6 squared. Work my way backwards and find out that the height is equal to the square root of 27, just using Pythagorean theorem. So I've got 1/2 6 times the square root of 27 is going to give me a area of this triangle of 15.6, and that's what I'm going to subtract. Okay, so now I've gotten the area of all of that. Now I have to add in the half of circle. Well, looking at my illustration, I can tell you that the radius of the circle is 3, because that distance, same as that distance, is 6. So then I have the area of the circle, remember, is pi r squared. So I have pi times 9, because it's 3 squared, which is going to give me 14.1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this, which is going to give me 98.4, and then I'm going to add the 14.1, which is going to give me 112.5 units squared. So I took the area of the triangle, subtracted the area, or the area of the rectangle, subtracted the area of the triangle, and added back in. Well, actually, I shouldn't have added back in that whole thing. So that's not quite right, because I'm going to have to take half of that. So I've got 14.1. Oh, no, half of that is 14.1. That's correct. Okay, so make sure when you find the area, so I multiplied this together, then I took half of that and got 14.1. So that's what I added back in to then include that part of my area. All right, I'm going to give you one to try. Start out with your plan and then work all the individual parts of your plan. So here's your shape. So you've got basically a rectangle, a complete circle, and a triangle. This is 32 feet here. This is going to be 16 feet here to here. And then this is 15 feet here to here. So work that, see what you get as an answer, and come back and compare yours to mine. So pause the video. So our master plan would be rectangle plus circle. Okay, because I have two halves of it, I just have to find the area of that circle plus triangle. So that's my master plan. So the area of my rectangle would be 32 times 16, or 512 feet squared. The area of the triangle, remember, is 1/2 the base, which is 15, times the height, which would be 32. So the area of the triangle is 240 feet squared. And then my circle would be pi times, my radius is going to be 8, so pi times 64, which is going to give me, when I have both sides together, 201.1 feet squared. That's the area of that circle. When I add all those together, I'm going to get 953.1 feet squared. And that's your total area of that shape. All right, let's try another one. Let's say I've got a yard, and in the center of the yard, I have a rose garden. Rose garden is 100 feet, and it's dead center. This is 25 feet right here. This is 25 feet right here. And this is 20 feet right there. And I'm gonna, this all around the outside of the rose garden is the lawn. And I wanna know how much square footage I have of lawn. So what I'm gonna do is the area of the large triangle, this is my plan, or large rectangle, minus my small rectangle. And that's going to give me how much lawn I have around here. So the area of the large rectangle, I'd have to look here and go, well, this is going to be 25 feet and 25 feet and 20 feet. So that's 70 feet. This is going to be 25, 100, and another 25. So that's 150 feet. So the large rectangle is 70 times 150, or when I do that out, 10,500 feet squared. The small is going to be 20 times 100, which is going to be 2,000. So I'm going to subtract 2,000 feet squared from it. So I'm going to find the total area of this part out here, okay, the yard, is going to be 8,500 feet. That's what I get when I subtract those. All right, then of course, you're going to put it on a coordinate plane. So just when you got it, they're going to make it a little bit more complicated. So we're going to do one together, and then I'm going to give you one to try. Alright, now, we've got a weird shape that doesn't do a whole lot of horizontal and vertical. So I've got to figure out what I know that's going to allow me to do this. So I'm going to split my shape up into these smaller parts. Okay, that right there is a trapezoid, so I can find the area. We'll call that trapezoid 2. Okay, then I also have this triangle right here. I'm trying to put some horizontals and verticals here, so we'll call that triangle 1. Okay, then I also have this trapezoid right here, so we'll call that trapezoid 2. And then I have this triangle right here on the bottom. Now, as you can see, and we'll call that triangle 2, I've split it into things that I actually know the values of, okay? There's several different ways you could have done this, but some ways are easier than others. Remember, the trapezoid is 1/2 the base times the height, so let's do trapezoid 1, okay? Remember, 1/2 the height, but the bases are added together, so that's where you get the 1/2 the base times the height, but you got to add the 2 bases together. This trapezoid over here, I've got this base and this base, and I've got this height, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's going to be 1/2 4, and then this is from -3 to 0, so this is going to be a 3. And this is from -4 to 0, so that's going to be a 4. So it's going to be 3 plus 4, so that's going to give me a 7 times 2, which is going to be a 14, okay? And this is going to be units squared, remember? Okay, so that's trapezoid 1. Trapezoid 2 is right here. So I have this height and this, or this base and this base, and this height. So I have 1/2, the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then my bases are from here to here, which is 3. And from here to here, which is 5. So I have 8 times 5, which is 40. So that gives me a 20 units squared. So hopefully you're following. This is 20. This up here is 14. Then I've got my triangles. So triangle 1 is this triangle up here. So my base, remember that's 1/2 the base times the height because there's only one base on those. So 1 and 3. So I have 1/2 1 times 3, or if you want to, 3 over 2, or 1.5, okay? So this right here is 1.5 units squared. Then I have this one on the bottom. So this is triangle 2. 1/2, the base here is going to be 2. The height is from here to here, which is from 5 to -4, which is 9. So I have 2 times 9, which is 18. Half of that is going to be 9. So I am adding together 1.5, 14, 9, and 20 to get a total area of 44.5 units squared. Those are a little bit harder because you'll have to experiment with what you know and what you don't know on the shape to be able to break it up. You might have to do it a couple times. Let me give you one to try. And after this, I'll give you your homework. All right. All right, go ahead and work on finding the area of this shape and then come back to the video. All right, this one might be a little bit easier than the other one because this separates into a trapezoid and a triangle. So on this trapezoid, I have 1/2. The height of the trapezoid is going to be 7. And then you have two bases. I have from -3 or -5 to 3, which is an 8, and from -3 to +3, which is a 6. So I have 6 plus 8, okay, which is going to give me the area of that trapezoid, and it comes out to be 49 units squared. And then up here, I have 1/2, okay, the base of this triangle is going to be 6. The height of it, I would have to count. It's from 7 to 10, which is 3. So I have 1/2 of 18, which is 9 units. So the area of this whole thing is going to be 58 units squared. All right, your homework is page 619 through 620, 8 through 22 even. That is due tomorrow at noon.